Japanese art coincides in many aspects with China's, wherever it has some peculiar characteristics. In general, Japanese art achieves an even greater degree of simplifications, which sometimes bring it closer to very abstract manifestations. Called Nippon Biyotsu. Japanese art is characterized by its eclecticism, since various elements of the cultures that have arrived on its shores to through its history are taken up. Likewise, an aesthetic centered of the sacred song or from this current. In many works, invisible forces, good spirits, and powers that move but the cosmos and objects are represented reflects the relationships of nature with humanity. This is evident in value given to imperfection, to the environment, nature of things, the emotional sense that the Japanese establish with the environment. In this type of art, rationally is obscured by emotional expression and the simple of acts.
Art covers many aspects in a culture. Speaking in a beautiful way, cultures are a set of fine arts, from painting, food, customs and traditions, the music that is heard, and the way of dancing, literature that each one has, the sculpture that is practiced, the poetry that is expressed, and often the time of cinema that exists in each culture are are distinctive aspects of each place. All these are the main things that characterize each place in the world. The history and the reason the history and the reason for each custom that is had is different in each place. It's enough to compare two films that were made in the same year to see the enormous difference between each culture. And there are many examples of how the art can show us the great difference between two cultures and difference and at any time. Art is subjective, which make it different, and each culture defends its art with pride and passion. So of course the art is important in a culture because in the end a culture is a set of fine art.
Would you like to live in that culture? I don't have an answer because all cultures call my attention. In this case, I can say that Japanese culture has caught my attention since I was a child because I like music and entertainment. Leaving my culture to get into other culture makes me feel nervous because they are not similar. The language, religions, traditions, and society there is very different from our culture, and although I will consider going to live in one of those countries, it wouldn't be my first option. I would prefer to know the culture only as a tourist. Going on vacation to Japan will be a dream, but living there will have to think about it several times. Isn't a definitely not, but it's also not an absolutely yes.
Japan has a fascinating and multifaceted culture. On the one hand, it is stemming in the deepness of traditions dating back thousands of years. On the other is a society in a continuous state of rapid flux with continually shifting fads and fashions and technological development that constantly pushes back to the boundaries of possible. Japanese family traditions and rites of passage. Two major religions influence Japan traditions and culture: Shintoism and Buddhism. Shintoism has been practiced in Japan for over 2,000 years ago. Simply said, Shintoism is a belief in kami gods. Because Shintoism has a lot to do with rituals, some Japanese may not feel it is a religion at all, but rather a way to celebrate many of Japan's social traditions. For this reason, Buddhism can be practiced right alongside Shinto customs.
um, Curiosities about Japan's culture. Number one, the drainage canal is in Japan is so clean, and that they even have koi carp fish and living in it. Number two, um, they teach the they teach their children to clean from an early age, and at school are in charge of cleaning the classrooms. Number three, if you want to buy a car, you must show that you have a garage at home. Number four, um, you can only smoke in smoking area, but not in the streets. Number five, um, all Japan's and people and love and are passionate about manga and anime. Number six, they use more than 25 million billion and chopsticks um, um, a year to eat their food. And the number seven, they are canned food restaurants as if it were a fast food. Yeah. Number eight, and sounds when you make while eating are appropriate here, there are appropriate there. Mm, Number nine, a greeting is always important. Be careful if they leave you with and your hand shaken. Number 10, they can take naps during work hours to avoid health complications.